We've demoed two tools, two awesome tools. But, what we've not asked is maybe a bit more about your journey and a bit more around that kind of community aspect. We did have some questions we maybe wanted to ask. Charles, you came up with these questions. You want to be the one to ask?
I did. So my first question is, how are you so prolific at creating these tools? You've created so many tools. How do you do it?
I'm just a geek. It's a bit sad, really. I just spend a lot of time on the Power Platform. I love it. It's the pain points, hitting a pain points, and really wanted to find a solution for something that's not available out of the box. This has always been the driver. And I'm one of those person who, this is why I've never been a pro developer, I think, a coding developer, because I hate it when something doesn't work, and I can spend a lot of time until I make it work. So I spend a lot of time doing it. It's not something that comes like this. Each of the solutions, it comes with challenges, but it's also a way to learn. So I would say a challenge I find as someone working in governance is that it's very easy to distance yourself from the technology because you focus on the governance, training people, you use the platform out of the box feature from the admin center. But then when you need to create something, it's so easy to step away too long from the platform and the technology. So for me, it's a way to continue to learn. And when there's a new feature released by Microsoft, I try to use it in one of those solutions. So low-code plugins, for example, is something I was happy to play with those solutions, and something that I don't really have an opportunity to practice otherwise, because I haven't been in that many roles when I create business solutions for the business. So if I still want to know how to create solutions, they need to be governance solutions.
And you're getting plenty of practice at that kind of thing. You've actually made me think about a question from a governance perspective, something that's been on my mind, which is PCF components. So PCF components, they offer so much power and they're amazing, but do you want them in the hands of a maker where they might be making API calls that you're not happy with? Do you have something, or are you aware of something where you can understand what API calls those PCF components might be making?
No, actually, it's a very good question. I don't know. And I don't know if it's accessible and how it will be accessible. And that's a very good point. I know you can turn them off with the setting enforcer for sure, but how to detect what those components are doing in an environment, I don't know if this is accessible.
Yeah. There's an additional challenge with PCF components as well, which is where you would like to have them available to be installed where you've created them from your Center of Enablement or your Center of Excellence team. And you don't want the makers to be able to build them. But in the environment, it's either you can have them or you can't have them, right? There's no way to have that bridge between the two.
Yeah.
So that's another unfortunate thing. Is that your understanding as well?
That's my understanding. And as you say that, I think, something that we could try is if you create a plugin to prevent creation in that table where those PCF components are created. If you can prevent the creation of a row in those table, maybe that could be a way to block the creation while enabling. You still need to allow it when you import a solution with existing PCF components though. So maybe a plugin you turn off and on when you need to import something. I'm not sure. It's worth looking into. Or it could be a good feature request for Microsoft, probably easier than the headache and all the hair we would pull ourselves out.
Look what's happened to me.
Yeah, well, I'm following you there. I'm losing my hair too.
One of the things that comes to mind for me, and again, it was a question you asked or mentioned, Charles, but why did you decide to make these tools for free? Because in my mind, these are tools that could quite easily be sold for a profit, right? But you've decided not to do that. You've decided to make them for free and give back to the community. What was the main rationale behind that?
I think there's different reasons. The first one is I've received so much from the community, and I know it's a bit cliche because that's what all the MVPs say all the time. And I was thinking when I would hear it before, I was thinking, oh, it's cliche. But actually, when I think about it, I have literally received so much from the community. I think of the early guys on YouTube sharing videos and Power Apps, Power Automate, and there's so much I got from them, from governance, and so it's also a way to give back. I would say that's one reason. Another reason in general for having a blog is for me to keep the information of what I create. And so I work on this mainly outside work hours if I create some solutions that I think are useful. And then I can use the solutions for the companies I work with, which is also a great way for me to have access to those solutions and reuse them for me. So in the end, I don't sell them for profit, but if I work for a client tomorrow, these are all the solutions I'm going to use to get an understanding of the tenant and set up their governance. I think the tool themselves to sell, it will also be fairly difficult. You could put them on app source, but then once it's installed, I don't think Microsoft came up with a really easy way to sell solutions you create on the platform yet for vendors. And also at the time I created, most of them I was internally employed and not set up to make money out of those. But I don't think that's going to change. I think I will continue to share tools like this for free and use them for the clients that I work for. And this way everyone can do this. And, it's my biggest pleasure to hear when other people are using them and finding the solutions useful. It's really satisfying.
Yeah, we thank you for that because you're definitely making our lives easier. One question I had is with all of the tools that you've created, have they been primarily for organizations where they're not fully licensed with premium Power Apps licensing? Is that usually the case?
That's usually the case, but I think that's also that I've genuinely haven't met that many companies with licenses for everyone. But even if I was working with one today, there are still some gaps for which you would need a good amount of those tools. For example, having managed environments doesn't prevent you from the need to have the Siri kit installed. And as soon as you have the Siri kit installed, you need to be able to extend it to really leverage the data. So I think that it's a compelling story. These features with managed environments, there's a lot of great features, but I don't think that today it's at a stage where you don't need to build anything custom at all. I don't think we're there yet.
Yeah, completely agreed. Have you moved into building tools for AI, for Copilots and things like that yet?
I'm working on it a lot at the moment. So I think maybe last year I realized you can't delete an agent as an administrator. You can delete apps and flows easily as an admin, but you couldn't do that as an administrator. You could do it, but it will not delete the application in Azure that it's associated to the agent. So that's one of the things I created is a very small child flow that you can call to delete an agent. But now what I'm working on is more how to improve the metadata you have about the agent. So how do you know if an agent is using web search, is using tools or calling another agent? Today, the Siri kit doesn't give access to this information, but it is available on the environment where the agent is created. And so what I'm doing is another extension of the Siri kit to get more information about the configuration of the agents. Power BI template as well will be available. I don't want to tease too much because if I don't manage to do it, then I will look like an idiot, but it's something I'm cooking at the moment.
Sounds really cool. Yeah, I'll look forward to that.
And I think that kind of brings us quite nicely to a close. Well, is there any kind of closing remarks from yourself you want to maybe shout about your blog or any resources in particular if people want to kind of know more?
I think, if anyone is interested to see what the tools they can use that I share, they can go to powertricks.io and they will find all the articles and sometimes links to my GitHub repo when it's something that they can download. But the other thing I really want to close on is just to thank you guys for having me today, but also for all the work you guys are doing with your YouTube channel. When I started to work in governance, there was barely any governance related content, and that was a pain. I was really, I would have loved to have found your YouTube channel at that time. It would have saved me a lot of hours and cries and tears, trying to work those things out. So I think you guys are doing an awesome job, and I look forward to seeing your next videos.
Thank you,
so
Val.
much.
Yeah, it's been the same thing for us. We've created this channel because of all of those pains that we've had, and we don't want people to suffer like that. And being able to show people that you've created these tools that they might not easily find otherwise, unless they're searching for the right terms, they might not come across them. I think it's really important for us to highlight that you've created some amazing things that save so much pain and so much effort. I just want to let everyone know that you've got these tools available. So that will be the goal.
Thank you, guys. It's really a pleasure to come here today. So thanks again.
Thanks, Val.